Hey everybody, Sean here from BoredParacord and Paracord.com, and today I'm going to show you how to do this Celtic knot. And most people that I've seen turn this into like a bracelet, so I'm going to show you how to do this. It can be kind of tricky, but I think I figured out a good way to show you how to make it. So let me get a little setup here. I'm just going to stick this to my table so it doesn't move. And that'll kind of give me a little bit of direction while I'm doing it. It's a pretty easy one. Okay, so I've got about 5 feet of cord here. It doesn't take a whole lot, but I want a little extra so that I can adjust it at the end as far as making the piece for the neck. The first thing I want to do is find my center point. So put your two working ends together and just pull it through your fingers until you find your center point. So with the center point found, you just want to make a quick crossover here. So you're just making a loop. Make sure that the right side of your loop goes over top of your left side. Now from this point on, actually I'm going to get this out of the way because it's going to be kind of distracting. Okay, so once you have your right cord over your left cord, pretty much everything you do from this point on is going to be exactly opposite of the other side. So if you do a loop on the right, you're going to do the opposite loop on the left, and I'll show you what I mean. So the first one that we do, you're going to create a loop, and this one is going to go underneath of the first part of the loop. So you should have something that looks just like this. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now that we have a loop like this, we're going to do the exact opposite, but the same. It's kind of hard to explain. We're going to do the same loop, but instead of it going under, like this one goes under, the other one's going to go over. So we'll create another loop here. And this cord keeps wanting to twist up on me. So I'm going to try to do this so that it can get the twist out. And you want to make sure that where these two cross and up here, that the loop on the left goes underneath the right. Very important to do that. So you've got a loop here. So the first loop, the cord on the right goes over top of the cord on the left. Comes over here, you make a loop. This cord continues to go underneath. And then you go to your other side, you create another loop. This cord passes over top of the loop, and then you cross these two, making sure that the right loop crosses over the left loop. So like this. Alright, so once you get to this point, you are going to create a loop that basically just passes over top of the loop on the right, and then it is going to go underneath this big loop. Now once it does that, you're going to, so you go over the loop, under the loop, and then you're going to go over this loop on the left. Just like that. So if you want me to do it again, I can. The cord on the right, your right working end, your right working cord, you're going to go over the loop, under the loop, and then over the loop. So you have something that looks just like that. Now this is where it gets kind of tricky, because this left working end, the longest one, this one right here, it's going to do the exact same thing but opposite, but at the same time it's got to weave up and down. So let me find where I'm at on my sheet here. So we got this one. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to come to this cord here first and simply go underneath of it. Now if you go under, it means the next step you have to go over. So go over, come up through that first hole. I'm just going to pull this tight a little bit. And make sure your cords stay in place. So now we've went over this one. I'm sorry, we went under and come up through this hole. Now we're going to go over this cord here and through that, the next hole. Just like that. Once you've done that, you've got your main loop here, your first loop that you did. You're going to pass over. So you're going to go down through. Well, you're not going to go through really. You're just going to pass. You're going to pass over this first one. You're going to go under the one that crosses through that loop. So go under. So you basically have got 4 or 5 different holes here that you've got to pass through. Let me show you. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This cord is going to go straight through this section right here, and it's going to do over under every single time. So if you go over here, it means you go under, over, under, over, and under, and out. Now, if you take a look at this, it's the same thing. And I'll peel this up and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. If you look at this, this is the same thing. We're all done tying. All we have to do now is tighten it. It's the same thing as this. And I hope I've kind of explained that as best I can. Like I said, if you do something on the right, you have to do the exact opposite on the left. But when it comes time to do this last part, that's when the weaving part comes into play. Now, the best way to tighten this is to start at your center point here. And I found it's best to work it in my hand. But always remember that this is your starting point, because half the cord's going to go one way and half the cord's going to go the other. So you just want to work this backwards. Just kind of pull everything through and tighten it up. This is my favorite part. I like doing this part, because you can really start to see it come into shape. You're just working backwards, working all your slack out through the working ends. I like to hold on to the center point that we started with and just trace it back and see if where you have slack, you just want to pull that slack out. Just like that. So now you've got slack here, so you just follow it back and pull that slack through, and you're pulling it towards your working end. Just like that. I know it doesn't look the greatest right now, but it will. Just takes a little time to get the slack out. There we go. And you don't want to lose your starting point. Pulling that right now just to get my starting point back to normal. This is the part that takes a little bit of time. I know it's kind of boring, but it gets easier once you get closer to the end. I ended up with a lot of slack right here, so we're going to get that out of there. We're starting to lose its shape a little bit. Alright, so this one goes down, and then off this way. And at this point, it's pretty close. It's pretty close to the picture. There is going to be a little bit more, you know, a little more adjusting. When you get it into the perfect shape, here's a suggestion so that you don't have to adjust this every time you put the brace or the necklace on, is just take a little bit of super glue, and what you can do is everywhere that the paths cross, open up that path like this, just put a little dot of super glue and press it together. That way it holds its shape every time. You don't have to really do anything. It's there, you come back to it, and it's ready to go. Alright, so I could probably tighten this up a little bit more, but I'll save you the pain. And we're going to make this bracelet not very long. I'm going to cut it right here, and I'll show you how to put these barrel connectors on. They're little breakaway connectors. Probably not the fanciest thing, but it works on this application pretty well. So I'm just going to make these into a point real quick with my fingers. And you got to be careful because they do get kind of hot, but I've lost feeling in my fingers. So if you do this, make sure it cools down just a little bit before you go sticking your finger into the lava. That's what we call it around here. I got battle scars from lava. Different scar there and scar there from where the paracord liquefied and came down and landed on my skin. Alright, so these are the breakaway barrel connectors. Pretty easy to use. All you're going to do is take the outside edge. Let me get this sticker out of here. You're going to take the outside piece and you're just going to put the paracord through there. Same thing with the other side, so that you've got your paracord on this end. Now what I like to do is just melt the end until it forms like a ball of melted paracord. And then with a smoothing tool or your lighter, just kind of flatten it out. Just enough to where that it'll go inside of the barrel connector, but it won't pull through the smaller end. And just let that cool. If you try and pull it too hard right now, it'll actually pull through because it's still kind of liquid. And do the same thing on this end. You want to make a ball big enough so that it doesn't pull through, but small enough that it doesn't get stuck on this side. And it's easy as that. Whoops, got a little bit on the edge there, but it came off. Okay, we're good. And those go together, and once that cools, those won't come out. But as you can see, it makes a pretty decent little necklace. I still got to tighten this a little bit more and kind of make it symmetrical. I hope you found this informative and helpful. That's the first time I've done something like this, so I hope I didn't throw you off too much by that. But, well, make sure you check out the Paracord On Facebook group. Somebody posted this picture on there today. I was like, oh, I'll try that out. They were looking for a tutorial on it. So people post all kinds of stuff on there. So get on there, check it out. It's facebook.com/groups/Paracord On. You should be able to find it pretty easily. It's the largest paracord group on Facebook. There's just over 16,000 members in there, so check it out. And until next time, Paracord On.